Hello, hi everyone.
How's it going?
1 minute late, but we made it.
Getting better.
A couple of technical issues before we got on, but yeah, how's it going, man? All right?
Yeah, good. Can't complain. Sun's out. We're stuck inside doing a podcast.
I went out for lunch, so I did my daily activity. But yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah. Well, we might as well get into it. Obviously, I'm glad that we're doing this on a Thursday, and I've had a bit of time to sort of calm down after the Leicester game on Monday.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've titled this "The Gap Widens," which kind of says what's happened between me and you for this week.
Yeah, man.
And also in the description, I also mentioned that I've decided to play my wildcard, so it's going to be an interesting podcast. We've got a lot to get through.
We have.
But yeah, I don't know if you want to. I see you're wearing your Arsenal shirt today. Feeling a bit better about the team.
Wearing my colours with pride today, mate. After that 6-0 demolishing of West Brom.
I mean, yeah, you cannot complain, can you? The season starts now.
Yeah, it's only West Brom, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, season starts now. Forget the first 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Yeah, might as well bring up the teams.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah,
can you see that?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, all good. 11-point win for me this week.
Yeah, so obviously for those that don't know, we've got our own little head-to-head going on where we play each other every week for 3 points essentially. Not a good start for me. Two wins down, 2 losses.
Yeah, but the overall difference is what, like less than 30 points. So.
Yeah. It's not panic stations. There's nothing to panic about. But with this, it is a bit ruthless because it is those wins, if they start racking up. Essentially it's first to 20 wins wins the season.
Yeah. It's the first time I've done this format, actually. It's quite good.
Yeah. We've got I'm in a couple of others that have a few more names in it, but I also I do like this derby nature where every week counts,
But
that's an indication of kind of where we're at. Obviously you're 172. Where does that put you now in terms of
what overall?
Yeah.
So I've got as high, after Saturday's games, I got as high as 18,000th in the world, which I sadly worked out was in the top 0.25%. But I've dropped down to like 300 and something thousand for now.
Is that because there's no Antonio in your team, basically, essentially?
Basically, yeah, that's what Antonio and Rameron have done me over. But I'm still, happy enough with my start. Like if you said I'd have nearly 200 points after 2 weeks. So
it's only taken me 5 minutes to mention Antonio because that's obviously he's a big talking point at the moment.
Yeah, should we jump into your team?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Other than obviously playing my wild card, I've got to be honest, it's been one of those weeks where, especially with the Leicester game on Monday, where I haven't really wanted to look at it too much because a lot of things went wrong and it's just unfortunate. I think. Last week I didn't do any transfers so that I could have 2 this week, and I thought that maybe that would allow me enough kind of maneuvers to kind of get the players in that I want. But then after this week and the way that I'm looking at that team, I felt like the wildcard sort of had to be done. It didn't have to be done, but I just think there was multiple transfers that I wanted to do, and I needed to kind of go for it.
Yeah. Do you want to go through the games like we did last week? Start with Liverpool.
Liverpool. So obviously it was Tsimikas in the team. Obviously everyone's kind of or the vast majority have sort of jumped on that bandwagon, which funnily enough is sort of time to jump off now, which is part of the reason why.
It's funny because he's one of the most transferred in and one of the most transferred out.
Yeah, it was so sort of a balance there. I'm not surprised. Those who are transferring him in, I think they're a bit late to the party there, and they're going to regret that.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Robertson to be back so soon. I thought the injury was a bit more serious than that. I thought, it was going to take a little bit longer.
I didn't even realise that he was on the bench for the last game. I only saw that afterwards. So, at least I clocked it now.
Just Matt Cole there. Wagwan, my G's. Yes, Freddie. Glad you're tuning in. Exactly. now that as soon as you see him on the bench, that essentially means he's going to be playing next game, and maybe Tsimikas will play one more before the international break. But
yeah, I think that would be I can see that happening. Yeah, like I said, he's only just come back, and there's probably no point in them rushing him back. Although they have got Chelsea next, haven't they? So
yeah, exactly, and
it's
actually
50-50.
And that's actually one of my considerations of this wildcard, actually, because whilst I felt like it had to be done, that fixture does have to be taken into consideration, I think, this weekend. Yeah, obviously, yeah. So Tsimikas obviously getting the clean sheet and the assist for Jota. It was a perfect start, really. And then obviously Salah not scoring any points, which blanking, which with us having Bruno as captain,
and we were made up.
It was a promising start. Salah was the most selected captain with Bruno second. So yeah, that there was a big opportunity there after the Liverpool game.
Yeah, and then we moved on to the 3 o'clock. So we had Villa, Newcastle. Have either of us got? Yes, you've got Wilson. He missed a big chance, didn't he, in that game?
Oh mate, this is one of the things. Actually, this is my biggest regret of the season so far. Is I went for Wilson instead of Antonio. I had Antonio in my draft, and the reason why I did that was partly because I consider him as a good differential. And that's a risky game to play, right? And I've paid the price for that. But having said that, Wilson, that game, he missed a really, really good opportunity. I think it was like basically a one-on-one.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
And then he won that penalty, and which he would have taken as well. And obviously he was just offside in the build-up. So it's the fine margins of fantasy football, isn't it? Like, that's it. And unfortunately, it didn't go my way.
Yeah.
Villa, obviously, Ings scoring that quality overhead kick.
Yeah.
And again, I think there's an interesting kind of thing going on up front now because you've got Ings, Calvert-Lewin, and Antonio all around the same price.
Yeah.
All performing well. You've got Lukaku in the mix, and obviously we'll probably come on to it later, but it looks like there's a good chance Ronaldo is going to be headed our way as well. So yeah, like it's difficult to choose the strikers, but
as if it wasn't difficult enough. It's just like last week is just with the transfer window coming to a close, it's just making it all a massive headache.
I think maybe and that's the other thing. Maybe the wild card in the international break would have made more sense because then you also got the end of the transfer window. But yeah, I've taken that risk. We've got another comment here. Spooner, have Firmino in my team. Good week 1, bench week 2. Too much of a risk moving forward considering the price. What do you reckon?
He's 9 mil, isn't he?
I think yeah.
I would be. I think better value like the ones we already mentioned. I'm calling them the Holy Trinity now: Ings, Calvert-Lewin, and Antonio. I just think they're your boys in that price bracket. I don't think Firmino can justify like the 1.5 or whatever he is extra. See how he gets on the watch list. Maybe I wouldn't be putting him in yet.
No, it's an interesting one because actually I'd know someone else who has got him in his team, and actually that good week 1, yeah, it was, but he still came off the bench and he scored.
Did.
And it is true that Jota is still a risk because they are going to rotate essentially. And having Jota in there is as risk in a way. The risk is the same as having Firmino, but Jota's a midfielder; he's a bit cheaper.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Firmino is the better all-round player, but fantasy-wise, in terms of value, and like you said, being a midfielder, I'd say Jota's the better value. Yeah.
I think as well with like we just touched on the striker options that you now have in and around that range, and even a couple of cheaper ones. I think would be better off.
Yeah.
So yeah, where next?
Next was Palace, Brentford, and Leeds, Everton.
Yeah, so Brentford. So Tony, I know it's only week 2, but I've lost my patience. He got man of the match against Arsenal, right? But the role that he's playing seems to be a bit more bringing other people into the game.
He's a big man, isn't
he? He's a big man up front, and and Brentford as well. They're unlikely to be a very high-scoring team at the end of the day.
And their fixtures coming up.
Exactly.
They're all right the next few weeks, but then it gets
very quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So So yeah, that was another. He's another one. Him and Wilson are both ones that kind of have made me, forced me into this wildcard decision. What else we got then?
You ain't got any Leeds or Everton, have you? But
no.
I've got one. We can come on to that. City against Norwich.
City Norwich. So again,
Mahrez on the
Mahrez on Pep Roulette second week. Like this is the problem with Man City, and they won 5-0. And like how much did I talk about Torres in preseason?
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, he scored 2 or whatever. He is a good option, but it is still to take your pick out of them. And like they win 5-0, but there's no way of predicting who is going to be.
Only guaranteed starters. Assuming that De Bruyne's fit, obviously he'll be in there. But other than that, it's Ederson and Diaz, I think, and then the rest is just pure lottery.
Yeah, Mahrez is a goner for me. Oh yeah, exactly the same, mate. Exactly the same.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the same goes with basically any other Man City midfielder at this point for me. Like I just don't want to. I don't want to play the Pep Roulette game. I want to avoid it. Like you said, Diaz. And lastly, obviously Mahrez did come on and score, so happy days in that sense.
Yeah.
But still, and there is always a chance that their players can do that. They can come on and still score points, but it's still frustrating when you see the lineup and they're not in there. Like it's demoralising. So I'd rather avoid it if I can. Diaz, solid performer and the most likely to play, as you say. With my wild card, which we'll come on to now. I'm tempted to sacrifice him just because of his cost. But
a lot of cutting going on there.
You got to shift players to bring players in, haven't you? At the end of the day, you got to move money around. But yeah, well, you'll see kind of my plan or my thinking. Also, doing this on a Thursday, there are going to be caveats, and I don't want to, I definitely don't want to say that's my final draft because there's still time between now and the weekend to have a play.
Yeah.
Brighton
Watford's the non-event, really. Have you got anyone there?
Brighton Watford. No. Oh yeah, Sanchez.
Sanchez. Yes.
Yeah. So I benched Martinez, and obviously Villa got the clean sheet, so I was a bit worried about that. And but then actually he did get booked for that challenge on Wilson, funny enough, that didn't result in a penalty because he was offside, but he still got booked.
He still got carded, yeah.
Yeah. So then Sanchez, actually, that extra point, I'll take it. It was a fine decision to bring him into the team. So yeah, that's the only thing for that game.
Cool. United Saints. So yeah, we both have Bruno captain. Very disappointed.
This is where it all went downhill. Actually.
Yeah. All because of Solskjaer, because he just couldn't stick with the same bloody team that beat whoever it was, Leeds 5-0. He had to put Fred and McTominay in there, and it was just if you watched it, it just wasn't the same threat, was it?
No, well, I think we both said the main issue was bringing in Martial up front. I don't understand it. Like, Greenwood, everyone was raving about Greenwood the game before, playing as a centre forward for the most part, and then you push him out to the wing and bring in Martial, who never performs well as a centre forward.
He didn't do anything.
And he didn't do anything. So,
and Greenwood's goal come from within the box where Martial should have. I don't know if Martial was off by that point. I think he was still on. Just very frustrating.
Yeah, and then to top it all off, and Bruno got booked as well, and he bloody deserved it as well because he was multiple challenges. Like he was being his usual self. So
Shaw did pick up some bonus points, didn't he? Was it bonus that he got?
So which, considering they didn't get a clean sheet and he didn't actually do an assist or anything, is pretty good. I think he's a keeper for me, but yeah, we'll come on to that, and then. The bench. So Spurs, I got Dele Alli on the bench.
Took a penalty, didn't he?
He did. He won the penalty as well. Won the penalty, took it.
But Kane's staying now. Looks like.
But I don't think that's going to affect Ali's position in the team. But on
the penalty front,
not penalties. That's very true. Not penalties, and we're still yet to see how many goals he can chip in with, because obviously there is a lot of talk of him playing a bit deeper, and when Kane comes back, especially, that might mean that he's not quite strong. But I still think for the price, he's a good option, and yeah, obviously a bit frustrating because actually I did have him in ahead of Barnes for a lot of the week, and I changed it towards the end. So yeah, a bit annoyed with that. Yeah.
So then you got Chelsea. Neither of us got any Chelsea players, have we?
No.
Again, it's a bit of Lukaku. I suppose we need to talk about Lukaku, really, don't we? He had an awesome game, really, against Arsenal. He was just completely bossing it up front, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I'd say Lukaku and Reece James were definitely the standout performers, and but yeah, Lukaku again is kind of like another reason why I kind of decided to do this wild card. I think he is he is the premium striker to have in your team, I'd say. Especially like I touched on Chelsea's fixtures coming up, not yet, but in a few weeks' time, they have they have a dream run of fixtures. So it might be a bit early right now, and this is one of the things that I'm debating. But I think Chelsea players are a must. Really, they're not conceding goals. They're playing really good football, and now they've got Lukaku up front. So yeah, I think we're missing a trick there.
Yeah, and then the last game of the week was you boys against the Hammers.
Oh. I mean, this is the thing as well. It's like not only did I have to wait till Monday night for you wait all weekend. Looking forward to it. It's annoying. But then on top of that, the game obviously went terribly. It couldn't have gone much worse. And but the one good thing that I was thinking about was we scored a goal, right? So Cresswell's clean sheet went out the window, which I benched him. So I'm happy with that. And also at that point, Antonio, he got an assist. He assisted the second, but it wasn't too bad. I was thinking this is all right. And then, sure enough, what was it? Last 10, 15 minutes, scored 2 goals. Disaster. So that it was a double whammy for me because I had Leicester getting smashed and Antonio just killing me on the last game of the weekend.
Yeah, quite a lot of people put Ben Rameron in as well, haven't they? And he had another good week.
Ben Rama, another one under consideration for sure. He did play well. And obviously for me, I got Barnes in the team, and I mean we went down to 10 men, obviously, and he is still one of our main kind of forward players. But again, it's a definite regret of mine bringing him in. It was probably a bit of the Leicester bias there. With Bertrand, it is just unfortunate that he's had COVID, and I did bench him, sort of knowing he wasn't going to play, but he did go down 0.1, so that is that's a bit of a problem when you're coming through the wild cards. You've already lost, you can't do like for like straight away. So, and also he is probably coming in to the team, Bertrand, potentially next game. So, maybe the thing is now is probably a good time to get him in, not when I did, and that was just
they got Norwich next. I just seen so.
But then with the state of our defence at the moment, and
I'm not too sure on Leicester at the moment. They're a bit iffy, aren't they?
Yeah, against Wolves, we were very lucky to get a clean sheet. And West Ham put 4 past us. We don't have, we're missing 3 really good centre backs, so it is what it is. I don't. Do you want to run through yours quickly? And in the meantime,
I'll just go through the players. I'll just go through the players that you haven't got basically because our teams are quite similar.
Cool. But just to finish, I think
I got 72. So I still had Ryan.
Go on. Just to finish, I'm like 1.5 mil in the standings. It's not where I want to be. It's early days. But I think part of the reason why I was doing the wild card is because I feel like I'm falling a bit behind now. So I wanted to nip that in the bud. But let's have a look at yours.
All right. So I stuck with Raya in goal, which turned out to be a good decision. Obviously, they got the 0-0 with Palace.
Turned out to be a brilliant move. That did. What percentage is he now? Because I do remember that at the first week he was 1.5%.
Yeah, then I think last week he went up to about 3 or 4, didn't he?
He's not had a price rise yet, has he?
No, he's only gone up to 5.2. And I don't think that goalies tend to rise that. Well, saying that Martinez had some rises last season, I think, didn't he? But the problem with Raya is I'll be sticking with him for a few more games because they got 3 okay-ish fixtures. I mean, all those teams have had quite a decent start, to be fair, so that'd be a good test for him. But like we already said with Tony, these fixtures coming up, I've got someone in mind that I want to replace him with for the same money at the same sort of time that those fixtures change.
Okay.
But he's done well for me so far, and yeah, 2 games, 2 clean sheets, happy days.
Yeah, good move. That was a good move. Yeah, definitely.
And then in the United game, obviously Greenwood. You must tell me something.
Sorry, my bad. I was sharing this. I was accidentally sharing the wrong screen. Go on.
Okay. Yeah, he got. Obviously, we said Greenwood got a goal, and he got the 3 bonus points as well. So yeah, happy that I stuck with him, and he's gone up 0.1 now as well. Son didn't do anything for me this week. By the looks, I didn't see any of the game, but by the looks of it, like similar story to the Leicester game, they had all the chances and all the play, but didn't seem like they could score.
Yeah.
So, and like we said, Ali was on penalties, which I was pretty pissed off about because I thought that with Kane being out, Son would be the man to step up for pens. So that is kind of making me think about taking him out. Plus, I'm not too sure about Spurs overall, but with Kane coming back in, I think that's actually a good thing for Son. So I'm tempted.
Yeah, definitely. Like they work together. Yeah, actually, last season Kane was assisting Son as much as he was scoring, wasn't he?
That's it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's another one that it says he is a quality player and sort of a must-have, but it's getting difficult now because there's more and more expensive players coming into the game. So yeah,
it's picking the best like 2 or 3 out of them, isn't it? To stay with Gundogan. I think for the first Man City goal, he was like literally getting ready for a tap in, but it was an own goal, and he was getting into the box as we sort of expected. But he came off, and yeah, just the 2 points. So not great for Gundo. Ings, we've already been over. Calvert-Lewin again scored against Leeds. That's 2 and 2 for him now, and he's on penalties. When I think previously Luca Dean was on penalties. So yeah, I'm happy with him. He's gone up 0.2 now. Actually, I think.
Has he?
Yeah, 8.2 now. Yeah, so I've made.
That's strange because they haven't had a clean sheet, have they?
Calvert.
Everton, have they had a clean sheet?
No.
I think no. Oh, sorry, Calvert's gone up 0.2. Sorry, I got confused with Dinya then. Yeah, Calvert. Yeah. Yeah, again, like I touched on that trio of Calvert, Ings, and Antonio in particular is an interesting one. Obviously, you've got 2 of them there. I imagine you're very much considering Antonio.
Yeah.
Those 3 up front for their prices, is a pretty good strike force.
I mean, there's going to be weeks, isn't there, where they're off form, but you'd hope that at least one of them will score a goal each week. Ideally, like a couple of goals between the 3 of them would be good. But
do you think that when Watkins comes back in, do you think that they'll play up front together?
I've heard some Villa fans thinking that they will, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Watkins go out to the left, in which case that could be a bit dodgy for Watkins owners because obviously they've got Bailey in that position now. It's going to be one to keep an eye on with Villa, but I was a bit pissed off as well about El Ghazi. Ings took the penalty in the first week, and then El Ghazi resumed he seems to be the usual taker. Ings let him take it. So I think that El Ghazi will be carrying on pens.
He scored a Panenka in the Carabao Cup, didn't he? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
El Ghazi scored a Panenka.
So I do like my strikers to take penalties just because their whole game is around scoring goals. They didn't really get points for much else. So, yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on that. Same with, is Antonio on penalties? He is, but he missed.
He is. Yeah, he missed. Yeah, you're right. He missed it. And that, don't get me started on that because he got the assist, even though the keeper saves a pen and it goes in and the pen gets an assist. That one's probably the most ridiculous of the lot, I reckon, for assists. Yeah. It's like there's no way that should count.
Nah.
But yeah, man, 73 points. It's good going. It's a strong start. And considering that, like you say, especially considering you only got 2 points from Fernandes as a captain, and no Antonio, no West Ham players at all. You've done well there.
Yeah, I'll take that. I was just thinking, if you want to show us your potential wildcard ins, you're going to have to share your screen, aren't you? Because I can't.
Yeah, I've got it ready to go. Just before we do, a couple more questions. Dele Assar, sorry, for Watford v Spurs. What do you reckon?
I stick with, if you've got Dele, I'd stick with him, I think.
Do you reckon? Yeah. I think, Watford v Spurs. I do fancy Spurs to probably to win that comfortably if Kane's back in the team. And Sarr, he scored in that goal in the first game. It was a deflected shot, and obviously last week nothing. So I think based on the strength of the sides, I'd go for Sarr with that one. Leicester centre backs worth a gamble considering how cheap they are. We sort of touched on that, but obviously Luke Thomas at the start would have been a good shout considering he ended up playing. But yeah, no, and Almaty as well. Obviously, Almaty is going to play the next game. Like Vestergaard's still injured. It's been confirmed. Vestergaard and Evans. Yeah, apparently him and Johnny Evans are back in training next week, which is good news. So they'll be back after the international break, but it'll be one more week of Almaty, unfortunately. Away to Norwich, we might get a clean sheet, but still, I wouldn't hedge your bets on it.
Yeah.
Matt doesn't like our answer for Dele or Sarr. Well, we'll see next week. We'll
Who doesn't like it, Matt?
Matt, he's not happy with choosing Dele over Sarr.
I mean, it is a close one to be fair. Like I personally wouldn't have either of them, but if I was pushed, I would choose Dele.
Watford at home, I'll give him that. Watford are at home, and like you said, Dele's not on pens anymore. Not going to be on pens, so yeah, maybe you're right, mate. Maybe you're right. Okay, so let's see if I can just zoom in a little bit here. All right.
Are you on yours? Back about mine.
It's mine. So mine showing. Yeah. I've switched them off. Yeah, exactly. Cool. So this is the draft that I got to. I have obviously, got a few different options in mind. But yeah, Sanchez, sticking with Sanchez, and I brought in Raya. But like you said, those fixtures coming up, maybe not the best shout, but obviously 4.5 goalkeepers are few and far between.
Yeah.
And I've still got Sanchez there. But essentially, I had Martinez, and I think that extra mil for a goalkeeper just I don't think it's worth it. I think I'm better off reinvesting that elsewhere.
Yeah, I agree. So
that's kind of step one. Whether it's Raya or a different 4.5 keeper, we'll see by the weekend. I've got to say the back five I'm very happy with at this moment.
I was just about to say it's looking fucking solid.
I'm liking it. So for me, Livramento is the obvious choice to replace Tsimikas.
Yeah.
Just to say, and I know you already know this, but Tsimikas, I played this wild card. What was it? Yesterday morning.
Yeah.
And
and
literally played the wild card. He'd already gone up 0.1. Literally an hour later, I got a Twitter notification from FPL saying price rises. I click on it, Tsimikas up another 0.1. So the money that I lost on Bertrand, I could have regained from Tsimikas if I literally just waited 2 hours to do my wildcard. But sod's law. Anyway, Livramento, like I say, what do you reckon as a
No, yeah, I've seen a bit of him and he looks good. What's their fixtures like? I know that he's only 4 mil, like he's not going to get in there, but just in case he does come on, has he got good fixtures? Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, they've got a good little run. Exactly, like that Man City and Chelsea game, we're obviously going to bench him. But other than that, he's an option. I assume he's going to keep.
He'll be going up.
Yeah, he'll probably be going up. I assume he's going to. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be looking at someone to transfer to from Tsimikas.
Yeah.
Should we have a little look at the?
Have a gander.
The different options from 4 mil.
There's a few. There's Duffy, obviously, who scored. That was annoying because
he's okay. Let me do 4.5 because some have gone up. Duffy's gone up. Yeah, Duffy's gone up to 4.1. So that's a problem for me because at the moment this team has again no spare cash. And this is where that Bertrand Tsimikas price drop comes into play for me. Like it's unfortunate. Duffy's a good option, definitely. I was having a chat with Billy today, and he was talking about the Tottenham defensive options of 4.5 as well, considering they've made a solid start under Nuno defensively. And you've got 3 players there who are likely to get a lot of time.
Who?
Sorry, 4.5, an extra 4. Yeah, 4 if you go up to 4.5.
Yeah.
So Dyer, Sanchez, and Tanganga.
They're 4.5, are they?
Yeah.
Spurs, just because I'm not interested in them. But...
yeah, exactly. I
Is
did
that back-to-back?
Go on.
Yeah.
I did say last season Sanchez did stung me. I had him in for a while and he didn't do anything and he got dropped as well. So I definitely that's a personal thing. I wouldn't go for Sanchez, but maybe, and Tanganga to me looked a bit reckless from what I've seen him in terms of
quite a raw player, isn't he? He's got the attributes, but he's still a bit like of a rough diamond, isn't he?
And he's a bit reckless. Who was it who they played against? Was it Man City? Where he was Man City. He was lucky to not get booked. So and then Dyer, we know that he takes the odd free kick and stuff.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's a pretty good shout, to be fair.
Out of the 3, I'd go for that. But obviously you're looking at that extra price. Because at 4 mil, so Duffy's gone up 1. I said about Hoiver last week, but that was I didn't realise that that was because Semedo didn't play the first game.
Okay.
So Hoiver's not really an option. In fact, there's no other options that have got any points at 4 mil.
No, I thought that was more. I thought that was more. I thought there was. I thought Manquillo was playing. Maybe he has played, but he's just got no points because they got smashed so much. The Newcastle. Well, if he has got smashed that much, there's probably no point in getting him anyway. But basically, you're looking at, if you're getting rid of Tsimikas, you're looking at Duffy and Livramento, really, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially, basically, yeah. So, part of the reason, again, like I felt like Barnes was at risk of a price drop, and a couple of other players that I had, Mahrez, like Matt saying, he's getting him out as well. There was too many of my players that were looking like they could drop in price, and you want to avoid that this early. In fact, you want the opposite to be happening. So that again, I think getting Livramento in while he's still 4 mil could be a good bonus for me. And then the other 4, obviously, just your reliable defenders. Sorry, Matt's just said Brandon Williams in the chat. And actually, I've got to say,
where's he gone? Norwich.
Well, yeah, I think I've always kind of rated Brandon Williams as a player. From when I've seen him at United, I thought he was decent. But Norwich's defense, you've got to wonder.
I mean, I wouldn't be putting anyone in. I know they're playing City, but I mean, look at that, like Aaron player. But
4 mil though, 4 mil. That's right. It's another option.
Right, sorry, I didn't realise it was 4 mil. In that case, then he's going to play, and he's not going to loan not to play. So fair enough.
Another 4 mil option, yeah. So the other one. So like I said, I have had to downgrade Diaz in this team to Walker. I do think that Walker's pretty much got that right side down. Like he's not going to play every game, but he's going to play most, right?
I think, where maybe last season it was like 50-50. I'd say towards the end of last season and the Euros, I think he's proved that he's like one of the best right backs in the league. And by freeing up that 0.5, it looks like you've got 4 solid up with James in there now. If Walker doesn't play and hopefully doesn't get subbed on, because I don't think that's a change. I was going to ask, actually, I should know this really. Is it still 5 subs or is it changed back to 3?
It's back to 3, I think.
Okay, so that's better then. So Walker, you would think, is either going to play or not. He's not going to get subbed on, in which case you've got one of those 3 or 4 coming on. So, that's a good shout.
That's very true, yeah. I think, like the Euros, he was class. And, I think on the left side for City, there's a lot more competition between Cancelo and Zinchenko. Obviously, with the news about Mendy today, he's not really going to be part of that competition anymore. But Zinchenko and I think that they might change around a lot. And then again with the other centre back, I think Stones and Laporte could be switched around a lot. So for me, your options are Walker or Diaz. And then obviously Reece James, well, we just seen what he just did. Like obviously my brother, bless him, Greg, doing fantasy for the first time this year and had James in his team first week, and he didn't play. I think that might have been Euros related. He probably would have been a late returner. Unfortunately, took him out for Ricardo, which not a bad shout after that first game. Ricardo got that assist and a clean sheet. But sod's law is this is the pain of FPL, and James obviously going on to have a stormer. Spooner in the comments.
Sorry, I was going to say you got him at 5.5 as well because I noticed he's gone up.
Oh, is he? This is why I did it yesterday morning, and I knew that the prices were at risk. Spooner as well, I know had James on his bench, which questionable decisions put him on your bench. I'd have to say, but yeah, it's unfortunate. Just a couple of questions from him. Ronaldo potentially arriving, would he be a must-add? Well, first, let's just start with that. What price do you reckon he's going to come in at?
So I'm pretty confident he'll come in at 12, if not 12.5. The other interesting thing with him is, I might be completely wrong on this, but I'm 90% sure he's going to be a striker. But if he's down as a midfielder, then that would make things pretty ridiculous of having to try and juggle that around with Bruno and Salah. But I'm sure there'll be a centre forward.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a striker. Yeah. I think about 12 mil. I reckon. I think about 12 mil.
Yeah, I think you can afford to let him have it because with the price rises, he won't go up until he's gained points anyway. So see how he gets on if he does sign. See how he gets on his first game. Obviously, if he does score a couple, and it's just he's going to in that team with the service he's going to be getting. If that does come to fruition, then.
And his level of greediness, never forget. I mean, no, it would be ridiculous, especially the service, from De Bruyne, Grealish, absolutely insane. But yeah, like you said, I think you can get 2, maybe 3 of the premium players into your team, right? But with him in the mix as well, then you've got him, Lukaku, Salah, Fernandes.
Yeah.
It's those 4, I guess, really.
Where that changes things for me is that I always say that I don't like to spend big money on strikers, but with Lukaku, Ronaldo, and Kane, it might be good to have one of them. And if one of them gets injured or is off form, you can switch. And then keep the same in midfield for you have to swap between Bruno and Salah because you ain't going to be able to get free. Well, you'd be lucky to get free premiums in without seriously buggering up the rest of your team.
Well, exactly. Look at this team. I've only got 2 and it would be very difficult, and I've got no money left. It would be very difficult to get a third one in. Yeah. It would be tough. I would quite like to see if I could get Son into this team, but again, it's not easy. It's not easy.
And who's the other one? Zuma? He's going to West Ham, isn't he?
Zuma, yeah, looks like he's going to West Ham. Should we wait or get them when they haven't had a price rise? I think. With the price rise thing, I think it's not so much dependent on transfers. I don't think. If anything, people who do have him. Okay, he's more likely to play, but he's also more likely to concede goals, right? At Palace, in his example. But I think with the price rises, it's mainly either obviously injuries is the obvious one, but after a weekend, especially on the Monday, Tuesday. The high performers, and you can look by transfers in and out, right?
Yeah.
So you can get a general idea of what's happening. But the high performers are going to be going up, the low performers are going to be going down. And
do you want to just tab onto the transfers in filter just so you can, because it is a very useful filter to have, isn't it?
It is. In fact, I tell you, I don't use it enough. In fact, do you know what? Last season, I don't think I ever used it at all.
See, that's the first thing I look at on the weekend is the transfers in. It's on that one. It's right down the bottom of.
Sorry, it's because I literally can barely see my screen. Okay, cool.
And then you obviously got switched to all players.
Yeah, I'm on Norwich still. So this is, and it's just by week, is it? So this is this week. Yeah.
Oh well, there's an option for transfers in round. Are you on transfers in round? Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I look at. Yeah. So that's
okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah. Like you say, so obviously those top 3, the 3 highest transfers is whatever had price rises, and that's basically it. And I do think, especially early on in the season, because the thing is, and some people early in the season do this, just play this specifically, right? going for the points. Like Reed, I did it last season a little bit, but not really, not so planned out. But trying to build up the value of my team, and then later on, especially in the second half of the season, obviously when you use your second wild card, that's when it really comes into play.
Yeah, because I think Reed managed to get his value up. I don't know if it was last season or season before, up to like 110 mil. So you gained like, I mean, obviously you're only getting half of that if you sold them all, but you can effectively change like a 5 mil midfielder to a 10 mil midfielder. So
yeah,
it's quite important.
Yeah, I think even if you get, an extra, because obviously you only get half of the price rise. So if you get your team to 105 mil, you got the extra 2.5 to play with. But like you say, that for me, that's the difference between 2 or 3 premium players, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is really important. And I've not made a good start. I'm 0.1 down. What are you? Do you remember?
All of mine. I'd have to have a look, but all of mine have gone up. Well, no one's gone down. Actually, no, Gunde went down 1, but a lot of my others have gone up at least 0.1. So pretty good start for me on the price rises. Yeah, without having to do too much. Yeah.
With this, these are the prices I got them in at, right? So the Greenwood 7.6. So yeah, Greenwood had already gone up once I got him in. I take it. I must have just missed out on that. Obviously, actually, Jota's gone up 1. Jota's gone up 0.1 now, which is good. But I think you're a little bit ahead of me in terms of building that value, but obviously it's early days.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then so defensively, that's it covered, sort of thing. The only thing that I'm a bit concerned about is no Liverpool players, and this was obviously the Simicas bonus was the cheap way into the defense. They don't really have any other cheap defenders. Matip, but then surely Kunde is going to come into the team, or Konate. I always get them mixed up. I always get those two mixed up. Kunde is the one linked with Chelsea, isn't he?
Yeah.
Obviously, Trent is the big one. Obviously, I'd have to make a lot of changes, but the temptation to get Trent in is pretty strong.
Yeah, I think with Trent in like other seasons, it was like he was a must-have because he was on corners and free kicks, which he still is. But when Robbo's in the side, he takes them as well. But now you've got people like Shaw and James who take corners at 2 mil less, and Cresswell. That's where I mean Liverpool are probably more solid defensively than a West Ham, but
he does look kind of back to his best.
He does.
And he finished last season pretty strongly, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then he got injured, obviously, and missed the Euros, which might actually end up being a good thing for him.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing. Okay, I'll name. As I go through that I can name the sort of things I'm still thinking about, and that is definitely one. Is the Trent thing? But like you say, that extra money in the defense, and then you're sacrificing money in midfield and up front. It's a tough one. Okay, so my midfield now.
The same.
Yeah, we're very similar now, aren't we? Still no Salah, which is a bit worrying. But Greenwood's come in. I think he's sort of a must-have at this point.
Yeah.
Rashford's still out. I think when Rashford comes back, maybe that will change things a little bit.
Yeah, I think I saw actually yesterday that Rashford is back in training already, and Cavani is as well. So that's going to be something to watch out for. Stunt Greenwood's development. In fantasy terms,
Again, Jota. So Jota and Dele and Bruno are all staying in from before. Jota, it's hard to take him out after 2 goals in 2 games, he didn't get subbed in the last game, did he? He played the whole 90 minutes. I think, or Firmino came on for Mane. I think he didn't come on for Jota, so that was encouraging. But it is just a matter of time until he's pulled out for Firmino.
Yeah.
It might even be this week because Firmino.
This is where it pays to have the strong bench, isn't it? Just in case. But
then he's a definite sub in, isn't he? That's the problem.
That's the thing, yeah. Quite a big issue, really.
It is it? And okay, he scored a couple of goals, but with that, if he is on the bench and he comes on and gets a 1, it's bad. It's not good for you that week. And when you can have someone else who's more of a mainstay.
Yeah, like Ben Rama, he's going to be starting every game. Well, I suppose he's a little bit at risk, but not as at risk as Jota. And then you've got other players like Saka is coming back now, I think he's gone down to 6.3. Obviously, once he's back in the team proper, he'll be playing 90 every week. So it's weighing up whether he can do more in 90 than Jota can in 70, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Saka's gone down 0.2 already. I didn't know that.
It's saying he's got a knock, but he's fine. It's just last night he just got a little knock. He'll be all right.
Okay, yeah, they do that sometimes, don't they? Yeah.
And Smith Rowe's down 0.1 as well. And obviously Odegaard's in there now, who had a pretty good game. Well, I'm a big fan, but if I had to choose between him and Smith Rowe, which I have done, I've gone for Smith Rowe just because he's down the 0.1, really.
Okay, yeah. You think they'll play together, both in the same team?
I think so, but there will be times when they have to rotate, and if they start and we'll say they start a couple of games in a row and we're winning games and we're playing well, then yeah, it'll continue. But yeah, we'll have to see on that one. But Arsenal have got some good cheap options with their fixtures coming up. I know that they've been poor in the first 2 games, but White's out again this weekend. Obviously, we've got City, but after that, we've got like Norwich, Burnley, Newcastle. Yeah, we've got a strong run, so hopefully we can put something together then.
Yeah, you're bound to pick up soon. Like you say, it was unfortunate how many players you've had out. So yeah, I think with those price drops as well, like Saka going down 0.2 is obviously, yeah, he hasn't played, so fair enough. But that's really interesting and could be a good option. I think Dele stayed in for now. I think like even though he's not going to be taking pens and stuff, he is going to be playing right every game. I think it looks like so. And I do think he will pop up with some goals, so he is in there. But there's some interesting options sort of surfacing around this kind of 5.5 mil price. And obviously, if I go down to 5.5 mil, all of a sudden that's a bit more money saved up. So Basuma is obviously the cheapest at 4.5.
Mm-hmm. I think he scored, didn't he, the other week? And he is a quality player, but like we said before, fantasy-wise, I don't think he gets that many goals, but he will play 90 every week.
Yeah, and maybe get some bonus points. That assist obviously was straight from a tackle. It wasn't even it wasn't like a through ball or like a set piece or anything. It was a tackle, but that is what he does. He's in it like 4.5 is it is a very, and if you're just planning on just putting him on your bench pretty much every week.
What about Damari Gray?
Yeah, I was gonna mention Damari 5.5. Yeah, he looked good, didn't he, last game?
He did, yeah.
Nice goal, and it looks like he's sort of going to be a bit of a key player for them this season. I don't really think they've got many options on the wing, so yeah, I think Damari is a good shout. Even and Decore as well, isn't even from his time as Watford, he used to pop up with some goals, right?
Quite a lot of people are putting him in, and yeah, I think he's done well the first few games. So yeah, 5.5 is 4 nows as well, maybe at 6.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe gone a bit under the radar because of Ben Rama. He seems to be finding his feet a bit now. Scores quite regularly.
Yeah, it can but obviously we touched on those Brentford fixtures coming up, and then Matt's favourite Sarr is there at 6 as well. And Souček as well is another, and also okay. So this is the thing. There's a lot around this price point. It's actually quite tough. So Souček obviously is a strong option as well. Scored in that first game. Rafinha, I think with Rafinha, as well as the fact that he's clearly class, he is Wolves' key man now, isn't he?
Yeah.
So if you want a midfielder that isn't going to be getting subbed off, isn't going to be getting dropped, then he's your man.
They're very attacking as well, aren't they, Leeds? Like, he's going to score quite a few goals and get quite a few assists in that team once they get through this little bad patch.
Yeah, I mean, he scored his goal at the weekend was quality, a great finish, and yeah, I think he's one that I'm definitely thinking about in this wild card. Yeah. I was quite impressed with Bergwijn as well, but I think now that Kane's coming back, he might again. He's too at risk of dropping out of the team.
And they're after Traore, aren't they? So I don't know what that would mean for him because they play the same position basically. Adama Traore, they're after, aren't they? Spurs.
That's we touched on his lack of productivity in terms of goals and assists, and maybe that would change at Spurs, but yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, for that price, if he's at Spurs, it might be a good shout, but still, I'd wait and see on that one. And then El Ghazi obviously did take the pen. Last season, at one point, I did think about. I can't remember if I brought him in or if I thought about it, but the fact that he's on pens and he does get goals, but he also gets dropped sometimes, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a strange one because he's one of those that goes through purple patches, isn't it? He'll start 3 games in a row and score 2, and then you won't see him for a month. So
look at that game 1, taken off 59 minutes, which is the biggest nightmare in fantasy, and 1 point. So that kind of sums that up. But a lot of options. So this Delhi Benrahma thing, I don't know, man. I think.
I mean, to be honest, I think West Ham, like, they're looking fucking good. Like, I can see them being one of the main challengers for top. If you have to pick a team out in that sort of 5th to 10th bracket that can push for top 4, I really think that they've got the squad now to do it.
I would dispute that slightly. I think that they've got the first 11 to do it. I think their first 11 is as good as it is, like very competitive for that top 4 spot at this point. But I think that their squad actually, because I looked at their bench the other day, and it's not their bench is not very strong.
Actually, I remember looking at the bench; it wasn't that great. But I suppose if they end up getting Zuma and maybe some potentially like a Lingard.
Well, I think the main thing is, and like it's a problem that Leicester had in the past. Well, if Vardy gets injured, we're screwed. If Antonio gets injured, they don't even have another striker in the squad. They literally don't have one. They have Yarmolenko is the closest thing they've got to a centre forward.
Yeah.
On the bench. So like this is the thing. It's like over the course of a whole season, I don't think that they've got like on the bench. Like even on the bench, they've still got Mark Noble there. I mean, I know he can do a job, but he's nowhere near top 4 level. I think that's the only point. But they are quality. Their first 11 are quality. I'll give them that. Yeah.
So while we're on West Ham, you've got Antonio in now, bought at 7.7.
I missed out a little bit there, but
I think he's like up to 800,000 transfers in this week now, which is pretty insane. Like, I say the average transfers in per round, like after the first few weeks, is like you'll be lucky for the top player to hit like 100 foul. So he's probably going to go up again this week.
Well, we looked at him, and their 2 next fixtures are pretty tasty, right?
Palace and Saints, I think.
Palace and Saints, and then even then after that, it's not too bad of a run. The thing is, right? Okay, so I think it's too early to be trying to get differentials in, right? And that's the mistake I think I made with Wilson in the first place. I shouldn't have made that decision. So I think it's like you want to be on that bandwagon, and it's like, but
don't be too clever. I don't think in the first few weeks. Just don't be afraid. Don't be like, I don't want to copy everyone else. Like that's stupid. Like if you have to do it.
Yeah, and also because I think you don't want to be losing touch with people, right? Especially like in the early stages, like,
and then you get even more like rash with your decisions later on. That's why I think in the past.
Definitely, definitely.
There's a reason people are transferring them in, because they're the players that are on form. So like, it makes sense to have them.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing with Antonio is he is very injury prone, isn't he? He is like the size of him inevitably gets like leg, he pulls muscles and stuff, and he often spends time out. So I think it's worth getting on him now, and then maybe seeing how long he lasts.
His celebration with the cutout.
At the time I was like, "What is he doing?" Obviously, I was salty as anyway, but
I was watching the golf at the time, and then like you'd message saying like, "Oh, fucking Antonio scored," and I turned over and I was like, "That's the first thing I saw in there with the cutout." I was like, "What the fuck's going on here?" But Reed said that or maybe it was Reed's mate Nathan said the plan was like for one of the players to pick him up. I was thinking, who's going to pick him up? It's a weird one.
Yeah, definitely. But he did play well. Like I said, 2 goals at the very end, which was annoying. But he looked strong. And definitely time to jump on that bandwagon. I think.
Interesting at 6.
Yeah. So I reckon you've got 2 options, right? With your front 3, you can either do what you're doing and go for the all around the 8 mark. So that's Ings, Calvert-Lewin, yeah,
Bamford.
Bamford. Even Firmino's around that price. Werner's not too much more expensive, and I do think that Werner is a potential shout. Or you can do what I've done here, which is have a premium, a mid of the range, and a cheap. Right. So, with the cheap, I've gone for. I'll just carry on while you're not even.
Sorry, my laptop was just about to die.
No worries. Or you can do what I've done here, which is a premium, a medium, and a cheap. And then when it comes to the cheap ones, so obviously I've got there's for me there's two kind of options here. Ross, actually, I was speaking to earlier. He was saying about Mopé, who there's only a 25% chance he's going to pay this weekend, according to this. But Mopé is an option. What are your thoughts on that?
He scored 2 and 2, hasn't he? But,
yeah.
I mean, I think if you look at him, he probably averages about. Has he ever scored more than 10 in a season? I don't know.
I'm not sure. Probably not.
I don't know if he's on. I remember he was on penalties, but I swear, didn't he try like a Panenka or something? Was that him? And he fucked it.
Yeah, that does ring.
I just don't like him. I just mainly because of the beef he's had with Arsenal in the past. But that aside, Brighton, they're solid, but I don't think they'll score that many goals. And 6.5, I'd rather spend that little bit extra or take a punt on someone like you've done with Armstrong, where he could be, a quick riser if he hits the ground running. From what I've seen of him, he looks good.
Yeah, definitely. He scored on his debut. He had a couple of really good chances in the last game, and he was unfortunate not to score. He's obviously going to be he's in the Ings replacement, right? So he's going to be playing. And I quite like
the style, really, didn't they? Saints like Hasenhüttl was like, he plays that German like pressing style. So I think he can get chances, and then he seems to be quite clinical.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, sorry, whilst I remember everyone saying, I was having a look at them earlier because they won. Did they win like 8-0 last night in the League Cup?
So did Norwich.
Yeah, and I seen that they had El Yunusi.
Yeah, I saw it too.
That's Celtic, mate, isn't it?
He went on loan there because he didn't really do very well at Saints. So
I didn't realise that he was on loan at Celtic. I just thought that he was just a Celtic player. So, that could be interesting. El Yunusi as well.
Yeah. I mean, wait and see on that one. If I think I remember when he first went to Southampton, I had him in for way too long as well. Because his stats wherever he was playing before, was it in Holland or something, were insane.
Yeah.
But that's just standard, like crappy European league doesn't actually mean anything.
No.
A bit like that, Jahan Bash, who went to Brighton. Same thing.
Yeah.
But then the other option, which I've also thought about and save money, would be Dennis instead of Armstrong. And I am tempted to do that. To be fair, like I've said, there are more expensive players that I still am considering. That's Alexander-Arnold and particularly Son. Because if I took, let's say I took Daly out for a cheaper midfielder, took Armstrong out for Dennis,
then use that money to get
to try and get Son in or Trent in. Yeah, exactly. So,
but then who would you get rid of out of James, Walker, Shaw, and Cresswell?
That's a good question.
It's tough, isn't it?
That's a good question. Probably Walker.
Yeah, I'd probably sway towards Walker just because the other three are a bit more
attack-minded.
Yeah, attack-minded.
Yeah, exactly. So probably that basically, but or Son would be the other option. Like I say, maybe for Greenwood, and just maybe not get on him. I don't know, but those are the kind of main things that I'm thinking about. And Armstrong for Dennis is tempting because at the end of the day, it's difficult to really know the difference between them at this point.
Yeah. And then the big man. Okay, yeah. So exactly, the big man Lukaku. Okay, and this is the other thing I'm thinking. They're obviously playing Liverpool this weekend. Is it? I'm thinking, do I go for, like, say, a Calvert-Lewin this week or someone like that, but keep the money in the bank so Lukaku is ready to go,
but just wait one more week, or am I at risk of him going up in price?
I think he's gone up already, has he, or not? Has he gone up 0.1?
I don't think so. No, not yet.
Okay, I think he might be
gone down 0.2
by the time the game week starts, but
Werner's gone down 0.2. I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Yeah,
8.8. Interesting. Yeah, so I think there's a good chance I'm going to do that. Although, like I say, I would be risking that price change. But if he does score against Liverpool, then I just have to put him in during the game, basically.
Yeah,
put him in as soon as the window closes. Because if I know that that's what I'm going to do, then I might as well just do that.
And like we said, if Ronaldo is coming in, then you can swap easily between them. It's going to be so hard to pick between. If you are going down that premium striker route of Lukaku, Kane, or Ronaldo, it's going to be probably dependent on fixtures which one you've got in. But then it's always like if you've made money on one of them, it gets a bit like at what point you have to be like pretty masterful to decide at what point's the best point to sell them.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I was just having a look at the see because there was a couple of comments that I've not been able to bring up, which is a bit annoying. But I'll just pick them up in the chat now. So yeah, Rye asked, now that Kane is staying at Spurs, should he become a serious contender for a premium place in your team? And does this increase the value of Son? So you kind of touched on that, but yeah, the Son Kane partnership, we've seen that in action last season, right?
Yeah, I'd stick with Son just because he's cheaper, but obviously Kane is on penalties. Maybe he's got a bit of a point to prove. Like I said already, it's tricky to pick. But for me, I think Kane probably. I would actually. It's tough because Lukaku's playing in a better team, but Kane is more experienced at scoring in the Prem, and he's on penalties.
Yeah,
it is tricky. But I'd say to Rye probably fixture dependent, and maybe wait and see how Spurs get on. I
think So I think like especially with Ronaldo coming now, probably around the same price. I mean, yeah, like you said basically a minute ago, you've got 3 to choose on there. You can rotate. You could rotate if you want, like a lot of people kind of do, maybe between Bruno and Salah, and fixture dependent. But yeah, I think it's going to be difficult all season to pick between those 3 strikers if Ronaldo does end up coming.
Yeah.
And then I had one more from Dom, but yeah, I mean, we sort of touched on it, but yeah, should we definitely say that it's time now to get off the Tsimikas bandwagon? What are you doing? I suppose he's already gone up in price, so there's no rush.
Yeah, if you haven't got him, then obviously don't put him in. But if you have got him, he can sit on the bench for a week, I think, without him going down. See how it goes against Chelsea. Realistically, you're not going to play him against Chelsea anyway if you've got better defenders already. So maybe wait and see. You never know. Robbo might start that game and he might have a recurring injury. That's just completely hypothetical. But if you took Tsimikas out and that happened, you'd be pretty pissed off. So I'd keep him for this week, yeah. And then if Robbo is back in, then swap him to one of the options, like you've already said, like Livramento. Unless you're going to do a wild card and need to move money around, that would be a swap probably.
Yeah. Do you want to just touch on before we end? We should be finishing off this soon. But do you want to just touch on your transfers for this week?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me go back to mine a minute. Can you see that, or do I need to share again?
Yeah. Give it a share. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So what I've done is this. So I've taken this will be my starting lineup. Basically the transfers that I've made is I've put Duffy in. I got him at 4 because I knew he was going to go straight up after he scored and got the clean sheet. And I already sort of touched on pre-season that he was one I was thinking about putting in. And Brighton had a good start, so everything made sense with him. So I took Michael Keane out just because Everton have been conceded, even though their fixtures are still good. He was 5 mil, and I just thought that was a bit too much for what he's done so far. So I saved a bit of money there. And then I also took Gundogan out just because Pep roulette, basically, even though he's one of the ones that's more likely to play. I'm just still not. I need to see a bit more City first to see what they're up to. So with the month, so I again saved money and put Smith Rowe in because he's gone down to 5.4. It was between him and Odegaard. I think Odegaard probably on set pieces, but Smith Rowe's probably he didn't play at all last night, which makes me think he's definitely going to start against City. Not that I'll be playing him this week, but I just think he's the man at the moment for Arsenal. And then with all of that money that I saved, I upgraded Balogun, who was my bench fodder at 5, to Antonio, who I got at 7.7 as well. So yeah, I did miss that original price rise, but I just thought bite the bullet and get him now because with those fixtures, he's only gonna if he keeps carrying on like that, he's gonna keep going up. So still got Tsimikas, but I could easily swap him for another 4 mil, and I've got 0.3 in the bank, I think. So I could swap him for like what my plan is. A lot of people just are writing Arsenal off, and rightly so because of what we've done so far. But a lot of our players are dropping because of it. And Ben White, he's down to he was only 4.5 to begin with, which was already a bit of a bargain if he is going to be starting for us.
Yeah,
he's down to 4.4, and I expect he might go down to 4.3 against City because he's got COVID.
Still collected by 16% of teams. What's that about?
Exactly, yeah. So I'm pretty hopeful that he's going to go down again. So that could hopefully be a near enough swing.
Look at Arsenal squad; they're just dropping like flies. I'm just going through. They're just dropping like flies.
They're basically all gone down. So yeah, I mean, if you look at our fixtures, I'll just show you. Like again, people might be like, "Well, it doesn't matter who you play, your shit." But I don't care. I'm sticking with my boys. Home to Norwich, away.
Fair play, yeah.
Okay, Spurs, Brighton, yeah. Like if I'm going to put an Arsenal player in any time in the season, it's going to be now. So, like I said, I done it this week just because I needed to get Antonio in before we went up anymore. So I've taken, like I said, I've done 3 transfers. I had 2 in the bank, so I've spent 4 points, and I'm holding my wild card until after transfer window and after the international break.
Nice. Yeah, nice. It is good to have that little buffer in the bank as well. That's obviously one thing that I don't currently have with this wildcard. I got no flexibility in terms of my what's left in my wallet. But yeah, I think they you made some sensible changes there, and obviously we've now got 5 of the 2 of the centre backs and 3 of the midfielders the same. Antonio the same up front, but there's still some differentials there. Yeah, but like you said, I think it's not surprising that I think a lot of teams are going to be looking very similar in the next few weeks. And then I think as we get closer to Christmas, they'll sort of start to drift apart a bit more. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is as well, like I'm saying, like these are good fixtures, but we don't know what teams are good and what teams aren't at the moment. You know, Tottenham might go on a 3-game winning streak. I'm thinking, that's an all right game for us, and all of a sudden that's a really hard game. So I'm willing to wait a bit longer than I usually do with the wild card, just because I'm quite happy with my start and my team. If I hadn't had such a good start, I would probably be wild carding and mixing it up a bit. But just with the amount of rumours that are flying around for transfers and some teams I'm not too sure about at the moment. I just want to see what they do. I mean, I'm a bit worried that I've got no Chelsea. That's my main concern. Reece James was the one, but he's gone up. But I can obviously, like I said, I can still get him with the money I've got in the bank. What I might do is take Cresswell out for James once Cresswell's got these 2 out of the way. At the same sort of time, Chelsea's fixtures, they have that nice run that we talked about. So that's my thinking. I'm thinking that 0.3 could come in quite handy just to boost a few players up.
Yeah, definitely. I think that Rudiger's a good option too. For Chelsea, if James ends up becoming too expensive, you know.
Yeah.
I think that could be a good option.
What I really want to happen is like either Azpilicueta, Alonso, or Chilwell, one of them to get like a longer term injury. So I'm certain that one of them is going to start. I'd be more confident about putting them in then. So
yeah, definitely. But yeah, so it'll still be kind of interesting going into this week because obviously there'll be some there'll be kind of some differentials there. But yeah, like I reckon there's a lot of people thinking about playing their wild card, and a lot of teams are going to be looking pretty similar at the moment. But that's not a bad thing, and I think then your tactics later in the season depend on where you are, right? If you're up top, then there's no need for you to really go for differentials. You can play it quite safe, and if you're behind, you've got to try and do something kind of a bit more adventurous. But that's not really necessary right now, and we'll just have to see how things play out, like after the international break, especially. But yeah, cool. I think we'll leave it there. Obviously spent a lot of time on my wildcard team, but like I said, it may well change between now and then. Between now and Saturday, I'm gonna have to definitely spend some more time kind of thinking about it because it was quite rushed on Tuesday morning, like in a bit of a panic after what happened on Monday night.
Actually, just for like people, for any listeners that are new to fantasy, like maybe like Greg, for example, if you're thinking about doing a wild card, once you've finished, doing your changes or whatever, you can still go back to it and keep like tinkering with it until the game week deadline. And the other thing which I think we touched on before is that if you've already made like some transfers this week, and then have been like, oh, these transfers are a bit shit, actually, like I want to do my wild card. If you do that, then you get reimbursed the points that you spent on transfers. So, something to keep in mind for wild card.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But yeah, I think that the second one is kind of more important than the first. When you like, that's the real, that's the
second wild card.
Yeah. The first one, like we touched on it before, getting out of the way early, it's not the worst thing to do. And I imagine especially over the international break, we're going to see a lot of that going on. Cool. All right, we'll leave it there, mate. Best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, good luck. You need it.
Oh man, I need 3 points on the board this week. I need it. This wild card, obviously, it can go one or two ways. I'll have to kind of make a note of what my old team would have done, because that's always making that comparison is like you've got to beat your old team at the minimum. You've got to beat your previous 11. Otherwise
it's a disaster. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, cool. We'll catch up next week.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, nice one.
Sam.